Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my very delayed, belated second trimester update. So I'm actually a fair way into my third trimester at the moment. So this is a little bit belated, but nevertheless I thought I would just sort of go through how my second trimester was for this video so that I can then get sort of like back up to date with where I am pregnancy wise, update wise, as well as start filming some of my other content that sort of comes after this. And I'm filming quite a lot of that content today. So I've also got my I've got my baby big buys, I've got my baby essentials, I've got my postpartum essentials, and I've also got my hospital bag videos, all being filmed probably today depending on how I go for time. So if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Jess and I make mostly hair and beauty content with a little bit of mummy lifestyle thrown in there. So if either of those things are your jam, please don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. I apologize for this random flicky outy piece of hair that's driving me insane, but otherwise let's jump into it. Any products or things I mentioned will be linked down below as per all of my videos, including this dress if it's still available. Let's talk second trimester. In my second trimester I actually had my 20-week scan like most people do, and that all was good. Baby in my sort of 13-week scan and my 20-week scan was both facing the wrong ways, and she was facing like face down. Made it very difficult to get photos of her and all the pictures that we needed, but thankfully we were able to get everything we needed and baby was growing happy and healthy. If I can, I will insert some of those ultrasound pictures here for you to see, but it was great. She is still a girl. It is confirmed that she is still a girl. If you weren't aware, we found out that we were having a girl quite late in our first trimester, and I believe I have mentioned that in videos as I do have some holes up. Yes, otherwise baby is good, or baby was growing good, all is going along. My morning sickness and nausea did actually ease off quite a bit in the second trimester, which that never happened really with my first two pregnancies. It did, but it didn't. This time it eased off to the point as long as I would eat first thing in the morning, I was fine. I was no longer vomiting, I was feeling good throughout the day, back to sort of like my normal self for the most part. I was getting quite a lot of heartburn and indigestion and things like that, but and I was taking Rennie tablets and also something prescribed by my doctor for those, but for the most part my morning sickness eased right off, especially sort of after mornings in that second trimester. Moving on, I also did get a reduction in hair shedding. I believe I mentioned this in my first trimester update, but I actually had like an increase in hair shedding for some reason in my first trimester. That slowed right down in my second one, and I've pretty much not been shedding hair very much at all ever since. For like bump and stuff, I don't really have any bump to show you picture wise for my second trimester. I might have a little look to see. I might have one picture towards the end of my second trimester, but that is it. I will insert that photo here if I can. It's on my Instagram if you're interested. I'll leave my Instagram handles down below, but this video, like I said, I'm filming it quite late. But for the most part of my second trimester, in fact pretty much all of my second trimester, I was able to get away with most of my usual clothes just using pants extenders, which I didn't have in my first two pregnancies, and I don't think it would have worked for them because weight wise I gained weight very differently. This time around I can actually still use those pants extenders to an extent. I'm now almost 34 weeks pregnant and I can still use those pants extenders to an extent, because I haven't gained like weight in the same way I did with the boys. I gained it a lot more with them because I was eating a lot worse with them. However, now I'm sort of like growing around my hips and thighs a little bit more, so those pants extenders aren't as good. I'll leave the ones I'm using linked down below. They're from the brand Belly Belt. I just picked mine up from Target or Big W. That's really good. Like I said, I'll leave a link down below and I'll leave a picture up on the screen. Those were great, and I used those all the way through my second trimester until it got hot enough to start wearing skirts and dresses a lot more frequently. During my second trimester, other symptoms I also had was we went on holiday. We had like, it's not really a baby moon because we took my 2 kids with us on a very belated holiday, smack bang in the middle of our summer, and it was hot, and so I had a lot of swelling. If I have still got the pictures, I'll leave them on the screen, but I basically didn't have ankles for like a week. It was a lot of swelling, and then on top of that swelling, I really had fluctuating blood pressure, which was sort of a bit of a panic for me because obviously I was in a different state. I was on holidays, my blood pressure was all over the place, and so I was a bit worried about it. But since coming back, my blood pressure did settle itself down, as well as the swelling did settle itself down once I came back from Queensland, where it was very humid and hot, back to Melbourne to our sort of like regular weather. While I was in Queensland, I also got a chest infection, which was not fun, and then that chest infection turned into a sinus infection, where I lost my like sense of taste for a little while, and then on top of that, I also managed to get my next set of symptoms, which was quite late in my second trimester, and sort of like the 27-week mark. I started having this issue where I was throwing up, like my nausea started coming back, and I was throwing up blood clots, and I was getting really severe blood noses, which after a lot of investigation and talking to my blood specialist, we figured out that the sinus infection was causing the nose bleeding, which was causing blood to like go down the back of my throat and then come back up in like chunks as I was vomiting. Gross, I know, but that happened over the space of about 2 weeks and freaked me out, because if you I think even if you weren't pregnant, the idea of like throwing up blood clots is a terrifying thought, and being pregnant, I was worried that even more so, as well as I have a blood clotting disorder, so it's something I'm very cautious about. Not super fun, but thanks to that, I then did get quite a bit of return of my morning sickness, nausea. That did ease off a little bit and come back, and it's been up and down, but that's going to be a third trimester sort of update. But yes, my nausea did start coming back at the end of that second trimester because of these blood clots. Another thing I also had during my second trimester was I had my 2 COVID vaccines. This is obviously going to be a controversial subject. Please, I'm not advocating so you have to get the vaccine or don't or whatever. I'm not putting my opinion out there on the internet. I made the choice based on me and my specialists and my doctors that it was much safer for me to have the COVID vaccine than to get COVID, because I have a blood clotting disorder and I was much more likely to develop blood clots if I got COVID than the vaccine. So as for the vaccine itself, I got the Pfizer vaccine. It was the only one I'm allowed to have during pregnancy and also with my blood clotting disorder. And then on top of that, I did have a mild reaction to both the vaccines. I got a sore arm both times, which is very normal, but I also got really bad vomiting after both vaccines. I think it just triggered my morning sickness to become worse. And I had like horrific exorcism style vomiting after both vaccines. So my doctors and midwives have made the decision that my booster shot will not be here after baby is here. So, but that did happen in second trimester. Another thing second trimester was I did do my glucose diabetes test, which came back the like 3-hour test, 2-hour test. It's never fun. But this was probably the easiest of the tests that I've done. I didn't feel as nauseous with it. It's not fun, but I didn't feel as nauseous with it. It was quick, it was easy. They were able to get all the blood draws, and I did not have gestational diabetes, which is a nice symptom. I've also had low iron throughout my entire pregnancy, so now I am taking iron supplements. But that is something that I've been suffering with my entire pregnancy, and as I've gotten further along, that has just gotten worse. Thankfully, I am not anemic, which means my hemoglobin red blood cells are still okay. But we are watching that quite closely because, like I said, I have a blood clotting disorder, and we also can cause issues later on with baby if that became too low. The last, I think that sort of sums up my symptoms. As for anything else to mention in my second trimester, I will say that because of COVID, I had a very poor amount of hospital care during that second trimester. I didn't see anybody from week 22 all the way through to week, I believe it was week 30. I'm trying to think. So I saw a midwife at week, no, sorry, I will correct that. I saw a doctor and a midwife at week 20. I think I was 20 and a half weeks, and then I went a further eight-ish weeks until I saw anybody else. I was basically in my third trimester before I saw anybody else. Because of COVID, a lot of the appointments were being telehealth appointments, which I didn't get. And then on top of that, all of my in-hospital appointments kept being rescheduled due to unforeseen circumstances. Christmas time and that sort of Christmas New Year's period. And then on top of that, which was when my 4-week appointment, like my follow-up, like next 4 weeks would have been. And then after that, my midwife kept cancelling my appointments, and then we went into code brown here in Victoria, which is basically like a matter of state of emergency for the hospitals. And so there were being resources pulled and moved around, and unfortunately because of that, I missed out on quite a few midwife and doctor's sort of appointments. This was all happening when I was having like that vomiting blood stuff, and so there was a good week there where I was throwing up blood and I couldn't actually speak properly to somebody about my concerns about it. So I didn't speak to somebody properly until like a week and a half after it started happening, because every time I tried to speak to the hospital, they were overwhelmed and overrun, and I kept being brushed off. So that was really, really frustrating. I've had such wonderful experiences with my last 2 pregnancies with midwives and doctors and the hospital, and so it was such a shame for this experience to be tainted by that, because I really do love my hospital, and it's just COVID has really messed with that, because if you are Australian, you would know that COVID, the outbreak went from sort of like just sort of happily plodding along to skyrocketing when the Omicron virus hit Australian shores. Over that Christmas New Year's period, and everything just went a little bit crazy. So that was sort of like a disappointment there, but that has now been rectified, and I'm now seeing doctors or midwives basically every 2 weeks up until my due date, which that will be a third trimester thing that we'll talk about. As for cravings, I've only really craved 2 things through my second and continuing on, and that has been Mexican food, Mad Mex naked burrito bowls, which is like a rice, beans, chicken burrito bowl. That is like my all day everyday craving. And Boost juice, which is like a smoothie, but I've been really craving their like vitamin C citrusy sort of smoothies, like with oranges and mangoes and pineapple and banana, and really thick cold smoothies. So those have been my 2 sort of cravings through the second trimester. I didn't really have any other major cravings. I did go back on coffee through my second trimester, but it still wasn't like my favorite thing ever. But those were my 2 like major symptoms. Like every now and then I'd have cravings for like something really specific, like pasta, but that was those my ongoing cravings. As for baby and baby's room and baby things, second trimester is where we really bought most of our big items for baby. We purchased our pram, we purchased our bassinet, we purchased our car seat, or the bassinet for the pram and the car seat. We purchased some furniture for her room, and I started purchasing sort of a little bit more clothes and things like that as well. We purchased her bouncer, her swing we purchased in my third trimester, and I purchased, it's not a nappy bag, but it's going to be like my like throw all in bag as an option if I don't want to use like my nappy bag, or if I've got all the babies and kids with me that particular day. So I purchased all of those sorts of things in my second trimester. I will be talking more about those in an upcoming video, but that is that. We did also finalize baby's name in my second trimester, and so we will not be sharing that until she is here, but that has been finalized also. Otherwise, that is it for all my second trimester updates. I think this video has been long enough, but yeah, overall my second trimester has been a lot easier than my previous pregnancies. Baby is growing well, and like I said, I'm well on my way into my third trimester now, so that update will be coming soon. But if you're pregnant, or if you enjoyed this video, or if you're a mum or anything like that, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment down below. If you are pregnant, I would love to hear it. I know there's quite a lot of pregnant ladies out there at the moment, and it's just so nice to know. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like I said, all links will be in the description box down below, and have a wonderful day.